Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we're talking about money, everybody's favorite or least favorite topic. I guess we'll see. If you got a little triggered by that, then maybe you should pay extra special attention to this episode. But we're going to be talking about creating a blueprint and a playbook for your financial success and your company's growth through the lens of a CFO, and how you can take that mindset, put it on your business, and who knows, maybe it's even time to hire a CFO for your business. But I have Tom Dillon with me, owner of Frak Finance. Tom, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I want to, I made that joke in the introduction, and then it dawned on me that maybe that's a very real topic that we should cover first. How many people are really triggered by their finances when you first start working with them? Is that a thing that happens?
If they are searching for us, they're usually in two camps. They're having financial issues, or they want the financial success of growth. And so, as you could imagine, there's some clients that we're just not able to work with, just due to the fact that they are, going towards bankruptcy. And that's not necessarily a kind of the right profile of the clientele we're serving. So a lot are triggered, but we kind of get them situated. Now, there's a lot of opportunities where it's just a quick little, not quick, but a turnaround type scenario where they just don't have the right people in the right place. And they don't really have, like you alluded to earlier, that roadmap to get there. And it might be, someone that took over the family business, and they just weren't situated or given the right tools to achieve the success they can. And so there are scenarios by that, but there are definitely some triggers.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, right? With money. Money's one of those topics where you try to stay as far away from it as possible, or you just get it and it's easy. And I understand that. So, I was trying to make a joke in the beginning, but then I was like, maybe that's not so funny after all. But I am curious. So when you were first working with somebody, aside from the conversation where hopefully you don't have to tell them they're near bankruptcy, but you actually take them on as a client, what are typically the goals of the people you work with? Is it just to understand their finances? Is it that long-term exit strategy? I mean, where do people typically want to go?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess maybe we'll take a step back. We'll talk about just kind of the core services we provide. And there's three of them. If you're buying a business, we'll do the quality of earnings. So think of it as financial due diligence, making sure that you're not buying something that you think is and it isn't. And then if you're growing a company, we'll do the fractional CFO. And if there's a bad bookkeeper or there needs some accounting help, we'll come in and we can help on that front. And then the third one is sell-side advisory. So M&A, your exit strategy or succession planning. And so we really focus in on the life cycle of an SMB owner. And I think, that helps from the standpoint of where the company's at and what they're looking to do, whether that's growth through inorganic growth, which would be growth through acquisition, M&A, or organic growth. And either one, it really is about working with the sales and marketing team. And so generally when people come in, their finances aren't organized in the right way, just from a pure bookkeeping standpoint. And so a lot of times we have to come in and do a chart of account change, where it's just making sure that we're able to structure everything, because as you could imagine from a CFO's perspective, if they're looking at the future, whereas the bookkeeping accountants are kind of looking at the past in the rearview mirror, We want to look out the windshield and see, hey, where's the business going? And the best way to kind of help build that roadmap and that blueprint of success is making sure that we have good financials. And so it really kind of starts there. And to answer your question directly, yeah, that's a lot of times, that's where we're starting. Even if a client's coming in wanting the growth aspect, we really have to start with the fundamental foundation.
Yeah, I mean that's so crucial. I've encountered a number of mid seven figure revenue businesses. I'm sure a lot of them are listening too, where it's you're only looking out the rearview mirror, and it's so hard to run a company that way by just looking what's already happened. Your tax planning and accounting and bookkeeping. So I love this sort of this new metaphor of looking out the windshield from the CFO perspective. So let's talk about that. Let's say, because we're talking to those people right now, and I'm sure some of them may not have that future focused outlook. They may not have a CFO at all. When they say, I want to grow my company or I want to exit my company, how do you start to put together that blueprint of really how to get them there strategically so that it is inevitable and it's not just a hope and dream for the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I love talking about this topic because it's so near and dear to my heart. Um, it really starts with the conversation with the business owner on what they have in mind in terms of success. It's like, what's your definition of success? Is it, I want to, transition this business to my children? I want to sell it for $20 million. I want to find a way to be a bolt-on to private equity and get a second bite of the apple and learn more of a sophisticated operation, and maybe eventually, see them exit to a publicly traded company that has more predictability around their KPIs and their performance and cash flow. All of those things are, part of the conversation early on is like, what do you really want? And so once we define that goal line and that target of, let's just say, I want to sell for $10 million. Okay, it's a big number. How are we going to get there? We're at 2.5 and we need to get to 10. So how do we 4X this company? And so we really then start with building out a forecast and putting a realistic time frame on that. 100% growth year over year is really difficult. And so we want to make sure that we're being realistic in the approach and, use the assumptions driving the model that are going to be obtainable, because there's nothing worse than being discouraged and your team, more importantly, being discouraged by unrealistic expectations. That's, a recipe for churn and just everyone being unhappy. So once we kind of have set the reality of, hey, that's a great goal. Let's say that might be a 10-year kind of process. We'll work backwards in terms of how do we get there and build out a forecast of what that might look like in terms of not just here's the forecast and what my overhead looks like, but more importantly, what does it look like from a sales and marketing standpoint? And we spend a ton of time, if you could imagine, when we're talking growth and exiting the company and what that means for a transferable and scalable asset. And transferable meaning you can actually sell it to someone else and that they have a repeatable recipe for success. What we'll end up doing is working on a dotted line with sales and marketing to really get there. And so everything will first start, what's our lead gen kind of process? And what are the traction channels that are working, not working? Do we know what our customer acquisition costs are? How much does it take to acquire a new customer? And what is the ROAS, the return on your ad spend associated with that? And is it, does it make sense to continue spending money in that traction and getting a return on your investment? And so we'll work and start analyzing that marketing lead funnel to start. How many leads are coming in? Where are they coming in from? And are they at industry standard? And then are there levers within each stage of that funnel? Like they'll come in and then where are we losing them along the way? That gets more into the sales side, but there's also a component within the marketing. And so we really spend a lot of time working with the marketing department, not as coming in here, pointing fingers, stepping on toes, but in a very collaborative approach, because that's the only way to achieve that success and start getting things moving in the right direction to execute on that playbook. You could have, some great coaching, but the players are not excited or happy to go out and execute and play the game, then you're going to have issues. You're not going to be a successful team, and vice versa. You have really bad coaching and great talent, but they aren't guided. And I think, and it's not a finger pointing or a blame for any of the owners. It's sometimes they don't have time. They're working, on their business and in it all at the same time. And then they brought in people with some expertise to execute on something specific, like marketing. And sometimes they're just the tracking of that performance and trying to provide some helpful guidance and collaboration around, hey, how can we make these marketing dollars go further? Have we thought about X, Y, and Z? Have we done this? Yeah, I have thought about it. I just kind of need some help getting there. And that's where we will come in on that collaborative approach, saying, all right, great, let's put together our game plan and that blueprint and help you achieve it.
It's really interesting, actually. I've talked to a number of CFOs, and I really want to say you're one of the first that talks about dealing with sales and marketing on such a close level. And maybe that's because I haven't spent enough time with the other CFOs, and maybe they get there eventually. I'm not saying bad things about CFOs in general, but that stands out to me, because that's really, instead of just going right in and slashing expenses and overhauling the business model and all that stuff, it sounds like you're really trying to understand what's currently working to what degree, and then seeing if we can make any minor manipulations to expedite that. Why is that? Do you have a background in sales and marketing? Like, why do you start there?
Yeah. So I've created and built companies from scratch, and bootstrapped companies. And I've also raised capital to go build a tech startup and built our own custom tech stack. So there's a lot of realities around the go-to-market and the dollars spent and the little dollars you have available to really start getting traction and focused in on, what's working and not working in terms of those traction channels. And so focusing on that marketing message and the traction channels associated with it, whether it's, the copy or the creative, all those things really matter. And so, maybe to answer your question, maybe my experience from that realm leads me there, because I realize that, those things are so crucial to the success and health of a business. But I think there's also two fundamental aspects that probably, and no one's ever asked me this, and I didn't know that. It's interesting. And really, there are two things. You can't cost cut your way to profitability forever. That's a saying and a motto that we have. Sure, it's a one-time adjustment, but where do we go from there? And those are the easy things. And a lot of times, I don't want to do them. A lot of times it's that we need these resources, we just can't afford them. So let's not come in and just cut costs. What is that going to do? A short-term temporary fix. And so for us, it's more of an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. And we're focused in on how can we grow so that we can keep the team and even grow the team. One of our mission, our mission is shorter than this, but I'll just kind of broadly say in general, one of the things in terms of what we love seeing and what we love happening is watching a company grow to the point where they're able to pay themselves more as the owner and pay their team and grow their team. So that's kind of our mission, but just cutting some expenses so the owner can, put a little bit of money more in their pocket or a little bit money more in marketing without fixing or addressing how to continue to grow, I think is a false first step that isn't going to lead to long-term success.
Yeah, great way to motivate your employees, right? Like, we're going to cut costs so that I can make more money. It's like business 101 on how to demoralize your team. Um,
Yeah,
but
well
no,
said.
I love this approach, and like I said, I'm not saying that no other CFOs do this, and none of the other CFOs I've talked to do this. It just seems like it's a priority and a focus for you, whereas it's sort of it's not the first thing that someone else is going to do. So that being said, which begs the next question of who do you find yourself typically working with? Are you do you attract different clientele than other CFOs? Or do you have a unique clientele that you seem to attract because this is your primary focus? Have you ever analyzed that?
Yeah. So we really, it depends on the talent within the team and who we can service. Our main kind of four verticals, because of the background in financial services. So we have wealth managers, and then e-commerce. When I left and worked CFO of a private equity backed company, it was in e-commerce. So there's that vertical from my expertise and the people my team that we've attracted who understand that world, as well as SaaS. We built in a tech, we built two tech stacks, custom tech stacks in the past from my own experience, and also helped a lot of our portfolio companies raise capital in that space. More of those venture-backed type startups in hyper growth mode where they need to think about their resource planning in those growth stages. And then our final one is sweaty startups. You can think of it as blue collar trades, whether it's home services or commercial services that touch kind of real estate. You could think of. So that's your plumbers, your HVAC, your roofing companies, and I think those individuals have. I don't know why that industry is. We're attracting that type of industry, but I think those are the type of, at least from our experience, owners that are focused in on the certain aspects of the day-to-day operations of the business, and they don't want to deal with the finance and accounting related stuff. They have a specialty and a skill that probably brought them into that industry, and they don't want to deal with those other aspects, and so maybe they just find that there's great value in terms of outsourcing that and saying, those headaches are yours, deal with them and provide me the insights on how you can help me focus on the other things, which is growing my company and attracting talent.
I mean, let's be honest with ourselves for a minute. Does anyone as a business owner really love dealing with the accounting and bookkeeping? Is that fair to
No.
say?
You know what? It is fair to say. I'm not going to argue the point.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. That's why we have people like you and teams like yours who can come in and help us with that and help understand and look forward to, which again, incredibly important. So last question here, then I'll let you go, is when someone is thinking about bringing on a CFO, what are either the things in their business that are happening now that's a really good sign that, hey, I need some help with this? Um, or on the flip side of that, what are the things that they want that they can't see a path to? That's another trigger of maybe I should bring in a CFO.
Good question. So just say if their cash flow is keeping them up at night and they don't know what 3 weeks out looks like in terms of what's coming in and what's going out, I would say that's a really good sign that they don't have a good grasp on their financials. And then in terms of what they might want or desire, that's really just, we can't seem to unlock this next phase of growth. And we're stuck. We want to grow. We've tried things, but they're just not working well. And so having kind of a different lens, that financial lens, take a look at the problem and collaborate and work with the people on the team to accomplish the goal, that seems to work well.
So if my math is correct, that's about 99.9% of business owners in both of those answers.
Yeah, we
You can
definitely
fact check
are.
me on that. It's
We're
okay.
strategically positioned to help.
It's true. No, honestly though, I joke, but they're both very true. I mean,
Right.
you show me a business owner who's not worried about cash flow or who really understands how to get where they need to go. And I just won't believe you, because surrounding yourself with the right people and the right teams, whether they're external consultants or internal, employees is crucial for anybody's success. So I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with the right people who can help you reach your goals. So that being said, if someone from the audience wants to reach out or wants to just learn more about you and what it means to hire a CFO, a fractional CFO, where should they go to learn more about you?
frakfinance.com. That's FRAK finance.com, or Tom@frakfinance.com. You can also reach out via email.
I love it. Tom, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure being here. Thank you.
For those of you watching, listening, frakfinance.com is down below in the show notes. Other ways to contact Tom are down there as well. I hope you like this episode and spend some time thinking about it. If you're in either of those two camps, it might be time to hire a fractional CFO. And we brought one to you. So go down there in the show notes, click around, and reach out to Tom. We'll see you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where guests and listeners come together to grow your business. We want impact-driven entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level in this group so we can all share ideas, collaborate, and grow our businesses together. Go to whatif.com/group, and we want to invite you to join today. See you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.